Hi, you could call me Rick Harsh if you wanted. I am the author of this book, which I'm not really promoting today. Nor am I promoting this one, but I'm going to talk a little about this one, The Manifold Destiny of Eddie Vegas, now in the hands of Zero Gram Press, not Corona Samizdat. I spent a couple of days recently hooked into right-wing radio or YouTube in the United States, and it's kind of it's funny because I've gone through the cycle of sadness and despair, and so now I'm pretty much detached, and I see this guy that I've never heard of, but apparently is very well known in the United States. 6 million followers. You want to be on my show? You with your less than 1 million followers? That was part of the conversation. A guy named Steven Crowder. Nothing really horrible. Nothing grotesque in the to the degree of pedophilia or child murder, or I don't know if necrophilia is so bad. I mean, who gets hurt? Victimless crime? Hard to say. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the way they go after each other. I never heard of the guy, and somehow I got connected to some film of him with his wife. They had gotten a divorce, and some film surfaced of him being ugly towards his wife. He didn't hit her, but there were some threats, and not like I'm going to hit you, but I'm going to fuck you up, maybe? Yeah, which I think is as bad as I'm going to hit you, maybe worse. I don't know. Problem was, she was 8 months pregnant, and she wanted to take the car to go shopping, and he wouldn't let her take the car. Apparently there was only one car available at the time, and he didn't want her to do it because she hadn't been doing her wifely duties. One of them was he wanted her to walk the dogs, but he had also wanted her to treat them with something that she didn't want to touch because she was afraid of the chemical nature of it, or I don't know. He told her put some gloves on and do it, and she didn't want to. She wouldn't do it, and anyway, so you can't take the car, and he went into the problems he would have if he didn't have a car available. It was pretty. That part was comic. Overall, it was kind of ugly, but it made me think of how public discourse. What happens when you enter the public? And as a writer, I enter the public hoping that somebody somewhere reads what I write. And, way back when I first got published in the 90s, it was, if I can only get a good review in the New York Times, I'd have it made. That's what we wanted back then. Now, our publishers tell us that reviews of that kind don't sell books anymore. You got to get on social media. That's what sells books. And I got on social media here on YouTube first in order to vent my amusement and disgust over the masterclass advertisements I'd been seeing. And then the Corona Samizdat Press started, and I just kept it going so that we would have some sort of presence. My viewership has skyrocketed to I have over 400 subscribers after 4 years. Now that's the slow growth program. I think there are people who started a YouTube program a month ago who have more than I do. nobody should follow my program, but I mean my schemata, how to get 400 subscribers within 5 years. I think you just have to put something up once in a while, no matter what it is. I could have my dog come up here and fart. Cinnamon, he's just had a bit of a walk, so he's tired. But anything you put up here, and you're going to get some subscribers. But are you yet sick of people saying, and if you want to help me and support the program, and if you don't, hit the like and subscribe, and it would really be a lot of help. I've never worried about that because I really, I do this as opposed to things like post on Goodreads because this is easy. You just talk and look at your own face, or you try to find out where the camera is, and you just talk. Anyway, I saw this right-wing guy, Steven Crowder, and what was really funny was how he's a right-wing guy, and the right wing was really going after him, and the left was talking about how fun it was to watch the right tear themselves apart, and that kind of thing. It was all kind of sickening, and but compelling too. I think the cliche is car wreck. But at the same time that this happened, for the first time in a long time, I checked Goodreads. There was a really good review of Upended Circuity by Robert Stickley. Let's see if we can get that on the. Oh, there it is. There it is. Upended Circuity by Robert Stickley. We're ordering more, and it's not gone yet. But now that I look up there, I'm not sure how long these will last. Anyway, we're gonna get more, and if we run out, we'll have more soon enough. Anyway. So I went to see these reviews. There were a couple of reviews about Upended Circuity. And the funny thing is, this is really, it's really a great book, and it's been received really well, and there are elements of it that are unique. Stylistically, it's pretty amazing. And the tremendous sentences, and a lot is said about its vocabulary. He uses a lot of archaic words, and he got two really great reviews in the last week or two, and I think both of them gave him 4 out of 5 stars, and I think he was very happy with the reviews. I was happy with the reviews. I don't always look for reviews. I hope that all of our books get reviews here and there, but Stickley got 2 really good reviews, and but they were both 4 stars, not 5, and I thought that was pretty funny. The thing is, I'm a quack, but with a good heart, and so it's hard for me to put fewer than 5 stars. Sometimes I find some way to put in 4 without even mentioning it, but I never 3. So anyway, because I was on Goodreads, I checked The Manifold Destiny of Eddie Vegas. How we doing there? And I found, I don't think I had looked at all over all these years. 3 years it's been out. And there are 3 written 1-star reviews, and the crazy thing about it is they're like right-wing radio. Let me see. I'd like to start with Paul. Paul, are you there? His is not the most appalling, but let's see. he's someone, apparently I had written to him once about a 1-star review, not for my book, not for anything of mine. I don't think for anything we published either. I think it was just like me, what I was thinking is why would anyone give a 1-star review to anything, it's some human being out there who's written a book, and it takes a mean streak and a will to injure, basically, to give a 1-star review to anything that's relatively little known, and I believe that was the case, and I think that really upset this guy, because I wrote him here, and he refers to it. He says, okay, did you know that Rick Harsch attended the Iowa Writers Workshop, as did many hundreds of other writers you've never heard of? True. It's true. Did you know that he somehow convinced Stephen Moore, who will write a positive blurb for literally any human being who has visited the state of Iowa at any point in the past 5 decades, to write an ambiguously semi-positive blurb for his terrible book? Well, the weird thing about this is that Stephen Moore is a very nice man, and this guy he said he somehow convinced Stephen Moore. Well, that was by asking if we can use something, or he put it on his list at the beginning of a few years ago of books that have impressed him so far, and we asked him to write a blurb. And this guy, he pretty accurately categorizes the Stephen Moore blurb as ambiguously semi-positive, and I think that's fair enough. Rick Harsch's word drunk. This is Stephen Moore's wrote. Rick Harsch's word drunk trans-historical odyssey, The Manifold Destiny of Eddie Vegas, which feels at times like a rollicking collaboration between Rabelais, Hunter Thompson, Thomas Pynchon, is one of the most impressive novels I've read recently. Now, that's it is ambiguous, and it is semi-positive. It doesn't end with you all read this book now, but the crazy thing is, this guy, he wants to take down the blurb a notch, and he does so fairly. But then, to say Stephen Moore, who will write a positive blurb for literally anyone who has visited the state of... there's no connection between Stephen Moore and the Writers' Workshop. None. And Stephen Moore is more connected with the state of Illinois, Dalkey Archive and all that. So anyway, he goes on to say, and this is the part I wanted to get to, of course, no one on earth gives a shit about these two facts. Stephen, I don't know, whatever. But I know them simply because this super serious author, Rick Harsch, super serious, sent me a 5-paragraph email on Goodreads whining about my 1-star review. Honestly, one of the oddest, funniest things I've ever seen on this website. I didn't write about this review. I wrote about someone else's review, and because I was in one of those what is wrong with people moods, and basically I just honestly asked this guy, what's the need to give a 1-star review to some poor writer, whoever it is? You can give Melville 1-star reviews. You're an idiot, probably, if you think that Moby Dick is a 1-star review book. But if you want to do it, what's the harm? People will laugh at you. You'll harm yourself. And so what I was talking to this guy, I was trying to actually have a conversation with a 1-star review giver, because I don't understand it. I really don't. 2, 3, and without a fair criticism, I've seen people on their own booktubes give 2 or 3 stars, but they pretty generally tend to justify it within the review, and so it's not surprising when it comes to that. And okay, so he goes on to just be a little ugly, and then there's another 1-star review, and all I can say is read the whole book, and you'll understand different. Eddie Vegas is an attack on a patriarchal country, and and there are women characters of all kinds. So Marie gives it 1 star. She says, written by a misogynist. Me. The women in this book are shells and puppets that the author uses to take his aggression out on. They are sex objects and crazies. One's a sex object. One is crazy. The daughter doesn't come off so well because she's been raised by the crazy one. But, you're getting the crazy one is based on a real character. And it's from the point of view of her husband. And then after you read more into the book, you find that perhaps the most authentic voice, the most important voice, comes by design from a Belgian woman. This is a book about the United States, and she gets some of the best stuff. There's also a Native American woman who is very important to the book and a very good character. And then there's this the first female cab driver, cab company owner in Nevada is depicted, and her knowledge of history is vast, and she gets a lot of play, and she's been pointed to by many people as one of their, some of what she does is one of the favorite parts of the book. But she says, they're sex objects and crazy. How can anyone take it seriously? Some of the 5-star reviews look weird, to be honest. See for yourself, the profiles were created and only reviewed this one book. Whether or not the author is doing this to puff up the book's ratings or not, I don't know, but it is not looking good. Well, it says for Marie, 3 reviews. So maybe she's one of those people who just wanted to say something bad about this book. But if you can go through Giuliano Vivaldi, 9 reviews, Michael Keane, 278, Travis, 40, Jeffrey, 5, Bert, 137, Nathan Vetter, one of my favorite reviews. I know his name because I've sold him. I probably sold him the book because we sold it back then. He says one of the top 5 books that I've had the pleasure of reading. That's all he said. But as an author, that's one of the best things you can hear. And said it plainly. Don't know him, and so you can go through and see that people actually did read the book on their own. They're not all people I know. There are people I know, and most of them say, I know Rick. But then there's one that is amazing for its, I think I could probably sue Goodreads for this one. If I had the money, I probably would, because under comment, it says, this person has restricted comments. And I've gone through something with this guy on this BookTube channel. He calls himself Boris here, and there are 2 reviews. he gives me 1 star, and he says, I've known Rick for 35 years. 5 years ago, he and his son Arjun, he names my son, stayed at my home in northern Wisconsin for a week. During that time, he physically attacked Arjun, my son, then 13 years old, in front of my wife. This didn't happen. I verified it with Arjun. Did I do this and I just don't remember? No. A few days later, he physically attacked me in front of Arjun. Also not true. I attacked him, and then Arjun came, Rick, you know. The only reason I didn't call the police is that I didn't want him to have to come back to my home county for any reason whatsoever. That's a book review. We did have a fight that got physical. And all I can tell you is that I'm not a fighter, and it took a lot of provocation. And what I did was push him, and he fell over. I'm not a strong guy. Look how thin my arms are. I didn't even know I could push him down. That's when my son ran out, and Ricky, please don't. Then he continues with, like his prose, his behavior towards others has only gotten worse despite what he may claim. Only buy this book if you want to support someone who rips off other authors while hurting his kids and his wife. He didn't, really go into that at all. And I thought I'd write that, maybe my comment, I tried today, actually, that's when I found this out, that this one in particular. I was going to write, hey, Goodreads, you really want to allow this kind of thing on your platform? Unsubstantiated accusations of child abuse? Are you nuts? I guess, I did, I think you can, I don't know, if you have that, what we most of us have, that perverse interest in feuds and disagreements. He was attacking me on YouTube for a while. He erased everything he put up eventually. I told his story, and this story is told as well. It's some pretty crazy stuff, and it is fascinating, but it's tiresome after some time. And yeah, he wrote this on June 26, 2022, so almost a year ago. Maybe about the time that his attacks stopped on social media. I don't know about other places like what's the Facebook, Twitter. I have no idea. It could be that he's constantly attacking me in these places that I don't look at. But he really, really went after me here on YouTube, and I don't know what made him stop. I told the truth. I expanded on what he said, and told the full story, and it's pretty embarrassing for him, but this came together. Seeing these, there's this great site on Instagram, which is a haven for anybody who's aggrieved, because people who would really hate each other somehow don't attack each other on Instagram. It's rare. It's happened to me, but you're in a brief exchange, and then you pull back, because it'd be really stupid to go into it on Instagram, and nobody's going to get the full story. Your version is not going to be, read by anyone, or if they read it, it's not going to be accepted, because the other person is going to have a version too. So it'd just be really dumb. And so it's best done on YouTube. and I've had two Instagram feuds spill back into YouTube, and better place for it. but they were, brief and inconclusive. But Goodreads is disturbing because they have this, comment restricted thing. So I can write on, like, there's a guy that goes by Gil. I think his name is called Gil Salas or something like that. And I could go, and find Gil, and I could create maybe I don't know how to create a fake account, but I think it's probably pretty easy. I have friends who I'm sure could do it. I could be, I could call myself Gil Harsh or something, and I could go on to Gil Salas's page, and I could write that Gil tried to assassinate Arjun at Steve Carlson's place in northern Wisconsin, and then no comment. So Gil could not go to the page and say, well, that's not true. I'm going to sue you if you keep this up. That's what I find bizarre about Goodreads. You can just come, and say, I mean, there's one thing to call someone misogynist. If that's your reading of the book, okay. And the speculation about fake accounts to gas up my stats, that's just silly shit. But accusing me of physically attacking my son, that's just made up shit, and I think that could be someone who could afford a lawyer could probably really get some dough out of it. But you just get this sense of weariness. Anyway, so and that's my YouTube for today is have social media fallouts, we'll call it, maybe social media fallouts. And I spent a few hours following this Steven Crowder right-wing guy, because I didn't know the story. I don't know any of the people involved, and I got to know a lot of people involved in a few hours of watching some fascinating deteriorations of the public human in public. And that's pretty funny. Anyway, I like this book, and it is not misogynist. You ask Chris Villa. Everybody believes Chris Villa because he's really good, and he's not boring, even though he is serious. He's got depth. He's got gravitas. Leaf by leaf. Go look up. He's done several reviews there, or 2 reviews of this book, and then he's included it in 10 big books. And read A Bended Circuity. There are some copies left, but as I look now, I realize, we better order more. So take care, and try to be good to your dogs. Bye.